Hi there, I'm Dani, spiritualtherapist.com, and today I'm so excited on the 2nd of the 2nd, 2022, to bring back my beautiful friend, the Reverend Dr. Paul Luftenegger. Welcome, my darling.
Hi, Dani. So beautiful to see you. I'm so excited to be here today with everyone.
We're so joyful to have you here too. And, what a day. I mean, I got my day confused. I woke up thinking I was doing a broadcast with somebody else. And I thought, oh, no, it's not them. It's the Mer lady. No, that's not. And then there was this gap. And then I sent you a message. It didn't get through. And then all of a sudden, here we are on the 2nd of the 2nd, 2022. And you being such a connector to the angelic realm, a man who sings around the world, his beautiful angelic expressions. Of course this happened. Of course it did. Now,
Yes.
would you please share with us a little bit of your background and how you came to understand your voice, your singing, and your connections to the angels?
Yeah. So the long story short of just my experience is the on March the 6th of 2011. So going back a number of years ago now, it's 11 years actually this year. My father sadly took his own life on March the 6th of 2011. And it was sort of that day where I had an experience with God that was very much aligned to, I think, ultimately start serving the world. I didn't know it at the time that day, but over the course of time, especially in those first 6 months after my father transitioned, I had a really intense experience with God, sort of asking me to become an international singer, songwriter for God. And it's that simple. And it was very confusing. And I didn't really know how to process a lot of that at the beginning, but I recognized, and I wasn't singing at all. I wasn't doing anything public at all. And I sort of essentially experienced, ironically, heaven that morning before we knew that my father had transitioned, had a beautiful morning. And then it turned into this really traumatic moment of disaster. So it was like sort of the biggest light of my life and the darkest dark of my life. And they came together to sort of essentially become one. And I woke up in front of the mirror. I'm a medium. We've been prepared for these times all of our life, I believe. And if anybody's watching this, there's no mistake. Everything's divinely aligned. And we're all here together to essentially hold hands and unite our hearts and our souls together as divine beings. And this means that you are very powerful and important. And we are living very powerful and important times. And I just want to sort of say, just to amplify what Dani said, is that this is a very powerful day, that 2, 2, 2, 2. And those are very important numbers. And I think it's an interesting part that people forget to say that 0, and that's the whole. No end, no beginning. So I know that we're here together to unite a very powerful frequency today of the angels with God, period.
Yes. You tell it, Dr. Paul.
Yeah.
You tell it. You tell it. Well, thank you for sharing about your father passing. And, there's so many people who have been going through grief, particularly in the last 2 years. I myself lost my beautiful fiance, my husband to be, as I like to call him still, very suddenly from a heart attack that was induced by nothing else in the air at all. No one's going to take that from my beloved. It was just a shock. And there's so many different ways to go through grief. And like my client before I came on with you today was a beautiful, sweet man whose wife just passed very suddenly. She had an illness that no one knew, and she sadly just passed. And of course, he's in shock and he's grieving. And it's like when we don't have time to prepare for someone dying, we've never had that conversation. We just don't expect it. And unfortunately, there has been a lot of loss and grief in people's lives, particularly these last 2 years.
Yes.
And there's so many different ways to cope with that, to grieve with that. For me, one of the most important things is like every single feeling that you feel that comes up, whether it's rage, devastation, let it flow through you. Let it come out. If you need to scream and swear in the car at them for leaving, do that. Do that. I do that. I still do that. It's okay. They're in the spirit realm. You're the one in the body. You need to take care of your mental and physical well-being while you're in this, you know, this expression of life that you're in now. So carrying all these deep feelings of grief, woulda, coulda, shoulda, this happened, that happened. I wasn't able to get to sit with my love for most of his time in a coma. And it almost mentally unhinged me. I cannot tell you the rage, the disgust, the hatred I felt towards the people, the staff that wouldn't let me in the glass doors that I was kicking to get into my darling. And I know that there are many who've had to watch their beloveds pass on Zoom. And that rage, that devastation, that absolute unfairness of all, I understand you guys, and I'm sorry that you've gone through that too. However, once they have left, our role must be to look after ourselves, to bring ourselves back into a wholeness, bring ourselves back into love for self, and let go of any blame. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. It's done. One more thing before we come back to you in numerology and the angelic realm. I truly believe in my soul that no matter what is presented to us, when somebody passes on, it was the soul agreement they had with self and their creator source. Now, I might be wrong. Of course I might be wrong. I don't think I am, but that's okay. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I truly believe this, that we can torture ourselves. He would have had 3 more years. She would have lived longer. We don't actually know that. And I believe the soul contract comes to an end. It's a discussion between that soul and that creator and nobody else. Because if we knew what was going to happen, we wouldn't go out. We wouldn't live our lives probably on many levels. Anyway, that was important, I felt, to say, to share with you guys in grief, and to go back to you, Reverend Paul, your angelic music, your beingness, and numerology, for those that don't know anything about the numbers, but keep seeing them.
Yes. I want to just touch on what you just shared too, just to sort of my heart and my soul just so powerfully wants to share this. And I know that we all have teams through the veil. So the veil is thinning. That's sort of, I mean, this is the common theme right now that everyone is talking about, or maybe becoming aware of more, is that the veil is thinning. And then our loved ones actually are still part of our soul signatures. And as we experience a lost loved one sort of transitioning, there is a beautiful alchemy that happens where our soul remembers that frequency and we can still have relationships with them once they've crossed. And I think it's important to just highlight and amplify that, you know, it is a struggle and a challenge to physically lose someone, but that doesn't mean you spiritually lose them. They stay with you and they are always going to be with you that way. So we have, you know, if we live long lives, we have hosts of beautiful souls that are here to help us through the veil. And my team on the other side is constantly reminding me to mention that, so that you are able to really remember that it is a divine alignment and it's a divine contract, and it doesn't stop because time says so. We are in omnipresence that way. So just to remember to give yourself what Dani just shared, you know, give your time to mourn. And really what you're mourning is the loss of what could have been. That's your experience, but they're continuing on to help you remember what is. And that's a beautiful gift. And I wouldn't have ever been able to know that until my father transitioned. And they're in many ways guides to teach us how to sort of navigate that space. And it's hard, it's challenging, but it's also beautiful once you sort of allow yourself, I think, just to let go a little bit and empty yourself a little bit into the veil thinning.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the gifts that you brought, again, just going back to the numbers, is that recognition of the angelic spheres, the angelic resonances, and the way that they show up in our lives, often with the 111, the 112233. Could you talk a little bit about that and what those numbers mean for you, please?
Well, first of all, today I have to share, it's really interesting because yesterday I saw the 444. I personally haven't seen a lot of numbers lately, but just yesterday I had the 444. I posted about it. And then today I had the 1111 today. And I released my album Spheres of Love on 11/11. It's also just saying, it's behind me right here. So I released that on November the 11th. And these 11/11, or for today, it's the 2-2-2-2 alignment. These are very powerful reminders of synchronicity. So in the angelic, ultimately heaven on earth scenario that we are all amplifying right now, there is always the reminder that we are in divine alignment. And these numbers are important. So it's all about the master builder number today. So we are master builders, master creators, and master co-creators. And so I just wanted to speak and share that this whole year is about two, and two people together, Dani and I together, the power of two, relationships, and with our hearts united in that beautiful space of honoring each other in the namaste, or the I honor the universe, or the beloved in you because I know you honor the beloved in me. Something is very powerful in sort of alchemizing this link to the source, to God. I like to say God or source or the beloved. And when we're in that divine alignment, we are very powerful because we are not in conflict, we are in unity. So this year for me is all about unity consciousness. And I know that the twos are very important to remember. Really focus in on your relationships this year and say the things that you've wanted to say to your loved ones, and have the conversations that you've been waiting to have, and give yourself permission to do that.
Absolutely. I did a little broadcast a while ago last year, just saying, just phone home. Like if you're a child, a teenager, like a kid who's like separated from your parents, and they're still probably really mourning you, and even they may behave badly, maybe there was violence in the home. Many of us go through that. And maybe there's something in you that still wants to punish them. There's more fear in everyone now than ever. So if you find it in your heart to phone home, to get a message, to put someone's soul, mind, peace at rest for them, and as they're going through what everybody else is going through. It's the one time in the world that I've observed that we are all on the same playing field. We're all in the same realm of emotion, and we are looking for tools to help guide us, to give us information, not to be our saviors, because that's not anyone's job. It's our job to come back to the light, into unity, not be so in awe of, oh, this person, that person. No, if people just really understood who they are, how amazing, beautiful, magnificent souls, creators they are, they wouldn't look to other people like there's something extraordinary. Yeah. Because what about them? What about them? So please, my love, take over.
Well, I love that. And I think that you said that perfectly and poetically, because that is really the truth. We are creators made in the image of. And I think that we're starting to really get a handle on some of this too. And it's not an easy experience to be a human being. And at times it's traumatic and triggering. So yes. If you get triggered or traumatized by anything, just remember that every day is fresh with no mistakes. And I always love to remind people of the portal of, before you go to bed, really clean yourself out, let go, forgive, hold that space of just beauty and gratitude, so that through that sort of timeline into the morning, you wake up with it as well. And when you wake up, to take some time to really nourish yourself before that's that sort of sleepy, dreamy state between sort of awake and asleep. Give yourself that special time to really nourish and feed into your body and the wellness that flows that in that space, because there are messages there, especially in the morning. There are messages for you. So really tap into your heart with source or with the creator, and sort of feel what's there on your heart, and then just start your day light, and claim it too. Today is the day that is created for me to thrive in, some version of that. And it's really powerful to have those affirmations in the morning, because it sets the vibration for the day.
100%. Yeah. It's so easy to forget, isn't it?
Yes.
I will write post-its, on the kitchen window, the bathroom mirror, in the bedroom wall, that I will keep reminding myself, pulling back into, breathe, relax, be kind, be loving.
All is well, all shall always be well. Like those sorts of messaging. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very easy, especially when I sit with someone like you with this high harmonic angelic resonance, which is so palatable. It's so easy to feel. I know others watching this will feel this, and you haven't even sung yet. We're coming to that. I'm not teasing you. We are coming to that. Mm-hmm. When we remember to have this kind of calm soothing of self, this self-soothing, this breathing in, breathing out and just taking that moment. Nothing else is there. There's nothing else. The stress, the argument that we have to do this, the task in front of you, it is nothing. It's out there because you're giving yourself the moment, this present moment in which to recalibrate everything if you choose to, if you want to. And the angelic frequency, my darling, that you have written 8 albums now, been around the world. Please, can you share some of that wonderful career that you've had and are having with your voice?
Sure, absolutely. So, ultimately, I have 8 albums, like you've just mentioned, and my work is really a collection of Ascension music, which is what God asked of me to do. So I say God, Creator, Beloved. It doesn't matter. Universe, no name, whatever. Intelligence, consciousness, whatever. The One. And I sort of used to be one of those people that thought I wasn't good enough. You know, I struggled I used to talk really negatively in my inner dialogue with myself. You know, I was too fat, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And that's my truth. And what happened is that I started to experience God asking me to essentially serve the world. And I was like, no, 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 no. So what happened is I sat down at the piano and I would have song after song flood into my awareness from the Beloved. And I was shocked and stunned by this because my whole past could always start writing a song, but I could never finish it. And I never felt good about it. But something happened where I would bawl my eyes out when these songs would come through. And to be able to finish a song, you know, over and over and over and over again, my ascension started to happen, which is ultimately our purpose on this earth is to be our highest self and manifest. And I'll be the first to admit I was an egoic, crazy fool for a long time. And I got out of my way and started, instead of making it about me, actually, I made it about being in service. And what happens when you serve others is what you put out comes back to you. So heaven starts to show up for you. So music has been a really interesting thing because it is a vibration. It connects people to their heart, their soul, their highest self. And people come to me all the time now. And it's a very humbling. I cry a lot. And my work is used more and more in healing centers for funerals, celebration of life events, in hospitals, in schools with children. And when you write about love, love has a frequency. There's a vibration to good words that support people. And when you have a song that supports you, which is what my music does, it supports your soul and your heart to thrive with love and light and to be connected to it and to honor yourself for it because you are very important and you are a holy being. So my 8 albums are really to really just make sure that it supports the heart and the soul of the listener so that they can really feel and experience and rise up out of the ashes of some of the challenges being human. And it's powerful. And, I can say it a lot more clearly now, but it took me a while in my ascension. So my 8 albums are sort of to support you from sort of 0 to number 8, which is, that infinity sign. So that's sort of the long and short of it.
It's wonderful.
Yes.
Shall we move to your beautiful song?
Yes,
The
sure.
Angels Are Listening.
God is listening to you. The angels are listening to you too. I am listening to you. The universe is listening. To listen is to love. To listen is to care. To listen is So open up your heart and share the vibration of you. Ask for help and ask for support and ask for grace and be sure to ask for strength. You don't have to do this all alone anymore. You don't have to be afraid. You see, the Lord is with you, beaming through your heart. So open up your heart and ask for what you need. Archangel Michael, Archangel Raphael, Archangel Gabriel, Archangel Uriel, Sandalphon, Metatron are with you. Mother Mary, Saint Bernadette, Christ's holy love lives inside your sacred heart. Oh, Holy Mother, Holy Father, creation dwells within.
There we go.
Mate, that's so beautiful. That is powerful. That is powerful. And to you guys out there, I hope that touched your heart like it touched mine. I hope that brings you some peace and some comfort, because we know that this kind of, the angelics, the angels, it's not for everybody, and that's okay. We're all finding our way, but ultimately we're coming to love, right? Coming to love. And even if you weren't a follower of anything angelic or Christ, or just to feel the essence that you bring, the way that you just, sing out and sing strong for people and heal with your voice, and so much healing love. It's just, I'm a bit lightheaded, not gonna lie. Thank you so much. That was beautiful.
Thank you. I know there's really, I would like to take credit for it, but I really say that this is really something so much bigger than little me. And I really just, the thing that I would like to just also mention is that all of my music is paid for and funded by my fans, which are loving, kind people. And I think it's very powerful when you don't have a third party with an intention that isn't pure. And there's a frequency in that unites people together. And I think we're in a time of so much divisiveness. And I think that when something's clean and pure, it reminds you that you are the same. You are clean and pure and really important. So to anyone that just listened, thank you for giving me a moment to just sort of get inside that heart space together on this 2-2-2-2-2 day.
Yeah, because today around the world, people that want to connect, people that want to meditate, people that are aware it means something, but they don't know what this means. This state, this vibratory resonance, this numerological portal point that we're in, you know, watching this, listening to your music, having a way to connect to more of your music is, I feel really going to be beautiful and beneficial. And I'm going to put this broadcast out in the daytime so that people can find it all over the world, rather than wait till, you know, 6 o'clock Central Time or something like that. It deserves to go out like now, so we can share this. And yeah, so beautiful. So thank you so much. Can you share a little bit about the kind of people that you have sung for around the world?
Sure. So I will share, I mean, I have, one of the people that is a huge part of my work now, and she's through the veil, but Louise Hay. So my song, My Heart, was used for Louise Hay's 90th birthday. And if you know Louise Hay, you'll understand this. And if you don't, perhaps Google her and look her up. But she wrote this very, very famous book, You Can Heal Your Life. Whoops. There's a pencil in it. You Can Heal Your Life. And there's over 55 million copies of this book sold, which reminds people that they can heal their life. And the whole concept of healing your life, which Louise was very famous for and continues to be more and more every day, is that it takes loving yourself. So when you love yourself, you heal your life, is her messaging. So I sang for her 90th birthday before she transitioned, and she actually transitioned to my music as well that you know, in that year. And I think it's interesting how out of 8 billion people on the planet, somehow my song, My Heart, was chosen, which is a message to put your hand on your own heart and say, I love you to yourself and for yourself, from yourself. Because I think that when you really do love yourself, you really become your highest self and manifest. And Louise sort of led that way from the 70s into the 80s, the 90s. And then we're sort of taking on, you know, that space now.
And Louise Hay, for those that don't know her, was an iconic feminine gladiator warrior for humanity. Man, she started in her 50s, right? And she built and created what is known as Hay House, for authors and publishing. And there are so many videos of her online speaking in the 80s, working with people who had AIDS, for example. Like, she was just a tour de force and is loved by millions around the world. I met her once and she looked like a blonde, slender former movie star, like a 1940s movie star. Yes. Beautiful. I met her at an Abraham Hicks journey, you know, connection with a lot of other people. A beautiful lady. Also, speaking about her, I know you were going to pick it up and you weren't sure. Are you comfortable sharing your, before you share that deeper connection, guys, the song Heart that he sang, that Dr. Paul Luftenegger sang at Louise Hay's birthday party, there's a video on your website and it's online also.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. If you actually, yeah. And if you go to Be Kindness, so BEEkindness.com, which is my website, you can actually just scroll down on the first homepage, but there's a video link to watch my song being used to honor her in front of the world. And there was 2,000 people live there that day, and it was live streamed around the world. But it was so cool seeing 2,000 people with Louise sort of in the self. When we are in a space of loving ourselves, something happens. Something happens that's really powerful. And that day, I still, on all of the experiences I've felt in my life, I've never felt anything like that day. And it was just epic. So, but the video's on my my website.
That's lovely. And
yes.
You do have a genuinely very special connection to her that, as you said, goes beyond the veil.
Yes, absolutely. And I know one of the things I will share, I still have, so I was given some of her ashes, and they're always sort of around my workspace when I do a lot of my work, but I will be doing, my plan is to actually plant a rose garden. And when I have my center finalized, I will eventually have an offering where people can come and just pay respect to Louise's ashes at some point in the future. Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful. Talking of your center, can you share with us the kind of work that you do in your ministry?
Yes. So the biggest thing right now is I'm studying still quite a bit of world religions, and I'm doing this because I think people need to understand that I'm I, along with many other people, are understanding that the interfaith ministry is really important, and it's because all paths matter. And so for me, I'm still studying my world religions in my doctorate because I feel that something that has been misunderstood is that it's not my God is bigger than your God, or that there's a right way or a wrong way to the beloved. Is that we all have our own way, and you have to trust your heart at exploring the way that that is. So my work is really supporting people in whatever way you find the beloved. And it's really important, I think, in these times, because we're so far beyond this my God is bigger than your God stuff. And the only way, in my experience, to understand and honor that is to honor all paths to the love that God is. And it's not complicated. We are all built with the sacred technology of love to connect to it. So I support people in that holy space of love.
And for me too, the only thing I feel, the only resonance that matters, no matter who, no matter what, is love. Truly, deeply love. Love the self. And it starts from there. And this whole topsy-turvy world that we live in, and all these different paths that people are on, you know, ultimately the shortcut is love, however you're going to take yourself through that frequency. And I love that the work you do touches so many people. You also consult, people can actually come to you and book you online for one-to-one private sessions. And you teach one of Louise Hay's modalities that you qualified in. Can you share that, please?
Yeah, so I'm a qualified and certified Heal Your Life teacher as well. So I have sort of funny, when I started this, I really didn't know all of this would happen, but everything sort of has chosen me. So I was asked to become a Heal Your Life teacher, which is Louise Hay's work. So I support groups of people online doing session work, or I also do one-on-one sessions with mediumship as well. And that sort of opens up, you know, whatever is meant to come through. So my work is sort of multifaceted. So, you know, if you're interested, you can just send me a message, and you're welcome to just email me. And if you have a question, or if you'd like to talk to me about anything, we can figure out maybe if there's something that I can offer you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. We were talking earlier about some of the reverends. I mean, I've been a reverend since 2004.
Nice.
But for the metaphysical, so not the specific, but for the interfaith. You know, my one reason for becoming a reverend in 2004 was that I would marry gay people, because at that time there was such a vile, disgusting decision. Like, no, not in my world. No, I will not see that. And that's why I did that myself all those years ago. But you and I were saying, there are so many people who have the hands and the souls, because people believe so much in the church, in faith, in different religions. But there are so many people who've been given the position of authority that just simply are not helping and loving. They are not supporting their flock. They're not doing it. What do you say about that?
Well, first of all, I'm gay, so I have a lot to say. And
yay!
You know, ultimately, you know, indoctrination of any kind, you know, this dogma, indoctrination or programming is actually the way I like to look at it. We are all programmed from our young selves. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't realize that we've been programmed by many of these, quite frankly, horrendous tactics, if you will, or, you know, beliefs, whatever they might be, that's in dogma. And what I have learned in my life is that we're all unlearning so much of that. So when we unlearn it, we start to, I think, actually shine the light that's within our heart and our soul, and something happens. And I think we're here to witness a lot of that happening right now. And I think if you look out to the world, there's sort of two worlds going on. There's a world of love, which we belong to. And anybody watching this is definitely in the world of love, because I wouldn't do anything without it. And then there's the world that's dying, actually, which is the world of anything that's fear-based or hatred. And quite frankly, you have to choose your world. I like to look at life like a gas pedal. What pedal are you going to push? You're going to put the love pedal down, or you're going to put the fear pedal down. And I'll tell you, this fear pedal will F you up. So take
Say the word, Reverend. Say the word.
Yeah. So take control of understanding that there's two petals in your life, and love, when you amplify love, and God gave me a very specific message in 2011, love, expanding love, become that. And when you become that, you become a conscious creator in co-creation with God. And what happens is your life starts amplifying love, and then you start experiencing more of it and more of it. And Dani, I know you experience this. I do. We know people around the world that are in this love world. And when you enter it with the intention to expand love, expanding love, you know, every day make it your mantra or your mission to help someone with a love in your heart. Listen to your heart's love and put it out into the world, and something starts to happen. And this is sort of, you know, this is really, it's a big sort of question that's really simple. And I think just owning your power in what really that is that's a piece of, quite frankly, the beloved in you. And it's really important and powerful. So that's sort of just a little thing on my heart to say.
Yeah. You know, there's so many people out there who might just kind of glimpse on this broadcast to go, oh, for God's sake, love, oh, shut up, you know, and the aggression comes up. They're like, well, where do you two live? La La Land, fairyland, oh, angels, oh, what? And I get that. I do get that. You know, I felt like that over the years in the past myself, like, shut up. But what I was saying, right? What I was saying to people like us, talking about love, expanding love, talking about connection to source, to God, whatever you want to call it, was because I was so hurt inside. I was so angry at the world. I was so violent towards the world. Like the world did this and the world did that, and these situations and things happened. And I didn't realize that I was trying to just push love out, because it was almost too unbearable to admit that I needed to just surrender and fall into it and let myself be okay with that, you know? So can you describe a time when something similar may have occurred to you?
Oh my God, how many? We have 8 billion stories of being horrendous, to be quite frank with you, and having really big struggles and challenges. And I will speak to a current time because I think it's powerful. I have had a really hard time in COVID. I'll be the first to admit it. It has been a challenging last 2 years for me, because I thought, and I'm going to say this, I thought human beings were a lot more advanced right now than we.
Yeah, me too. Let's call it the Barona, because the babies that own and run the dark ones that run boob tube, they've given me 2 strikes. I don't know, one of those and one of those. I don't know why, Reverend, that they have.
What I'm just going to say, so the beauty to this now, so let's just switch topics. But the thing that I know to be true is, you know, it has been a bit depressing, let's just say, to witness some of this. So what I know to be true is that I had to get really strong again after feeling a little weak. And I think it's important to say that it's okay to fall down sometimes and be depressed. It's okay to, you know, give yourself permission. When you're depressed, it's showing up for you to do something with it. It's when you let it become stagnant that it's a problem. You have to really clean yourself out with energy. So you have to let it flow. It's just an emotion. It will pass. So we are emotional beings. So I had a challenging time, 2020 into 2021. And I had a message from God to actually do my album, Spheres of Love. And I remember saying to God, I was like, are you kidding me? I don't have love and light right now. You're insane. I remember thinking, like, you're absolutely not getting anything out of me right now. I have nothing to give. And I started to think about why I was saying that, like, what, like me, which I devoted my life to this. And I was like, why am I saying no to God? And I started thinking, well, here's the deal, God. You want me to do that? I don't know how I'm going to do it, but if you're asking this of me, well, I'll try. No promises. So I started, and I said to God, I was like, you're going to have to make this easy because I don't have anything. So what's really interesting is I started looking into how much it would cost to do this album. And it was the most expensive project I've ever done because my producer would only work in the most expensive studio because of COVID. Oh, sorry, I said it again.
All right. Brona.
So anyways, so through that was really challenging. And what's so funny is because of crowdfunding, I asked for my amount. And what's so funny is that within less than I think it was I don't even know, less than 24 hours, the entire album was funded like that. I had everything just line up so perfectly. And I've never written an album where it just came so effortlessly in the order it was meant to be created. And I recorded it in September of 2021. So I was sort of pregnant with it for 9 months. And it's interesting because through my depression-y, like sort of hardship, I came out with something that actually is really a powerful 1-hour spiritual practice, which is this album. And it's really beautiful. And I know what's kind of funny is I listen to it sometimes myself to remind me of just this flow. And it was shown to me to do a flow. So it's a really beautiful, empowering container to just close your eyes. And people don't do this often, but put some earbuds in, close your eyes, and just let music bathe you that's loving. And that's what this album does. And it will help you just sort of nourish a part of you that's inside of you with some positive, helpful vibrations. And everything on this album, from the people that donated to the people that recorded, you know, my producer and my sound tech team and everybody that's been involved, all they care about is love and supporting the heart and the soul. So it's a really cool sort of story out of, I think, quite frankly, probably the only depression I've ever felt in my life to that extent, you know?
Yeah, wow, that's so lovely. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes,
So
yes.
just want to touch back on the reverends, who the pastors, the vicars, the bishops, the whatever title is given in that hierarchical church system. In the mainstream religions, not the metaphysical, that seems to get sidelined too. But I would suggest to those people that hold those positions to loving your neighbor, loving the people in the town. There are people who are freezing cold right now. There are people who are hungry. Open your churches. There are many people who had to give up their medical. They had to leave their shoes and walk away because they wouldn't do that. There are many that could be funded to help some of the mentally unwell, because you imagine you open the church doors, people off the streets come in, not everybody's well in the head. Yeah. And there are little ones, and there are women, and there are very vulnerable men. And, it's not that difficult, because as far as I'm concerned, every system that's supposed to look after our world has failed. It has failed miserably and pathetically. And there are so many of us that would be very easily able to turn this around with love, to love our brothers and sisters, to put safety measures in place, to protect everybody who's vulnerable, hungry, cold, or needs help.
I want to just show you this symbol because I really feel it's important. So I always feel that the soul is round. Our world has been very much a pyramid. So these systems are actually really antiquated and control mechanisms. But I think when you put them together and become the sphere, the circle, what's very powerful is that you actually trump these systems by being the round. So God has shown me very clearly that the soul is round, whole, no end, no beginning, center point is within you, always in the now. You're very powerful. And what those organizations that are triangles, what they need is your roundness to power them. So it's very important to remember that you are a sphere or a circle, and that everything has been structured in our world of today as a pyramid. And what always trumps it is you get to choose what you do with you. And I just like to remind people that you're very powerful. So in the decision making that you make, what Dani was speaking to with churches need to become round. They need to become whole. So I think it's an interesting conversation to segue even into my song, Broken and Whole. 100%. And I didn't sort of plan this way, but I knew that I wanted to share, because Broken and Whole is what I'm going to play. And this song is about have an honest conversation with you about what it is to be whole. You can be broken. It's okay. I've been broken a billion times. It's okay to be broken. But what's beautiful is in our brokenness, I always like to remind myself in my brokenness, I am whole. When I shatter from within, I'm actually expanding my ability and capacity to love and become whole again and again and again. And this song is really an honest confessional to end my Spheres of Love album with. So I'm going to just share that, Dani, yeah?
Yes, please. No,
beautiful.
Yes,
okay. All right. So we're going to do this. And I just have to switch over to this. And there we go.
but somehow I know it all. I'm a paradox, I'm paradise. I'm so lost, I'm always found. I guess in the end I am my soul, the peace of it all. I'm a little boy, but such a man. I love to laugh, and I cry all the time. I'm so naive, but so wise. I love summertime and a cold winter's night. I guess in the end I am my soul, a piece of it all. I'm a sinner and a saint, I'm rich and poor, I'm gay and straight, I'm black and white, I'm so successful, but I feel I often fail. I love to love in a world that loves to hate. I guess in the end I am my soul, a piece of it all. Dark and light, I'm happy and I'm sad. I can be cruel, but I try to be kind. I hate to lie, and I fake my smile and get scared all the time. I can be hurt, they say I'm fine. I'm a sphere of love, a piece of God's forever. I'm round and whole, circling it all. It all, it all, it all.
Well, that was emotional.
Bless you. And that's your song you sung 1,000 times. Bless you. The first time I heard it, I was a mess. I was a mess. I was bawling. But it's good because your music is consciousness shifting. It is consciously written. It comes through the realms of love. And so when people really listen in, they're going to move something in themselves, whether it's pain or a wound that needs to open up and be loved out, or just a basic happy emotion, or knowing there's more to what's in front of them than they're seeing right now.
It's so beautiful. And I think the thing, I thought I was done with that album. I had my 10 songs is what I kind of wanted to do. And then on the 11th one, there's 11 songs on this album. I was out driving and had this awareness to just do something confessional, like just to admit my greatest fears in a song. And I think, it's really okay to be afraid. I'm a very fearful person by nature. I get scared really easily. It's one of the things that I think when you're sensitive, I think so many people hide their sensitivity, and it's actually our superpower. And I have hit it all my life, but I get scared sometimes, right? And I think what this was is it was a liberation of understanding that actually what really needs to happen now in the world is an honest conversation, whatever it is, whatever is an honest, true sort of going on within you, to have that conversation first with yourself, and then be willing to find someone loving and kind to share it with, and allow that space of what it means to be human, to be scared. What does it mean to be scared? Well, the reason why we're scared is because we love. And if we can actually just really wrap our head around becoming the loving being that we are with our fear, something happens too. And it's just, I've witnessed this sort of part of me that I know that people need to hear at times, to give permission to your fears so that you can become the love that you are. And I think shift into it. So thank you for just, today, because I feel like it's been so, it wasn't really planned to do this today, but it was so perfect how it aligned.
It was planned, we just hadn't settled on a date. Right. And then we're looking into the next 2 weeks down the road, and then just today, boom. Yeah, boom. Yeah. And that was absolutely handled by the beloveds, the benevolence, so people can really get into the energy, the number, the frequency of this day, 2nd of February 2022. There will never be another one. And to bring your beautiful, loving, conscious music to as many as we can. And, that's our intention.
Thank you. I feel like I've received a sort of a love bath today, and in just reminding myself that, all is perfect. One last thing that I wanted to share today that I just feel is so beautiful is I've been sort of doing this new practice that I don't even know who told me about it, but I really love it. And if you can find a river, so we walk out in nature, and I found this river, and somebody had said, just look to the river on a bridge. If you can find a bridge or, something that's over the river, and go to the side that the stream's flowing to you and the side that it's flowing away from you, and have a moment to empty yourself first with what's flowing away from you. Let go of everything, empty yourself, everything that you want to let go of. Let the river just take it away from you. And then to go to the direction that the river's coming to you, and let it come to you. Anything that you want to receive, let it come to you. And I think that nature has such a profound way of healing us and reminding us simple things like that. And I've been doing that this week. And, the river of you, Dani, I mean, you're in Costa Rica. You're coming to me and my river here. And I just want to thank you for just being the river that comes to me. And I just thank you for just, you go to so many people, and I know I do as well, but thank you for coming to my river that way, because you're just one of those people that just knows, and you just are like a river. So thank you.
Well, thank you. I love you. We're friends, and we've been friends for a long time, for a few years. And I am just so honored to see your growth and the songs and the music that's coming through you for the masses, and the global travel you've been doing, and the concerts you've done everywhere in the most extraordinary places. And you know, United Nations, not the political shady part that's under question from all of us people on the ground, but it was the, well, can you share a little bit about that? Because there might be some footage people could look up for themselves.
Yeah, I always like to remind people that the United Nations is a beautiful structure. I really honor the United Nations for the structure of it. And of course, there's a lot of politics involved. And I'm interested in the NGO, the non-governmental organizations of the UN. So I've been invited 5 times to non-governmental organizations of the UN. And in particular, I'm often invited to the International Day of Yoga with my work and speaking and singing. And I have to say, it's, you know, I've pretty much been invited to the big ones that I love is so the International Day of Yoga, the International Day of Women. And I really honor, I think, just those 2 branches of the UN and the spiritual component of what it means to be healthy in global health with a lot more than just, you know, physical healthcare. There's an emotional part of healthcare, and I love that these parts of the UN really support that through the non-governmental. So
yeah,
they sort of keep everybody in check, the non-governmental.
Lovely,
Yeah.
wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing.
You're welcome.
Oh my goodness, you're just always such a breath of
you know,
radiance and comfort, and you take people's energy just down into a loving resonance of it's okay, it's okay. And so if anyone out there would love to connect with you, I'll make sure your website is underneath. But I also want to say, guys, when I first met this beautiful man, Paul Luftenegger, I went on his website and I got lost for hours and I cried 17 times. You can click and sample so many of your albums. And I was like, oh my goodness, I was looking for music for a documentary with children and teenagers that I was making. And this is the perfect music for that. And I was just off with the fairies, off with your music. So guys, I welcome you as well to find what's, you know, what, yeah, because there's so much to offer. And thank you for honoring and blessing my little but mighty channel and bringing your love. And it's the second time, you guys, second time he's been on the channel. There's another broadcast we did last year. And there's a couple of beautiful other pieces, you know, harmonics, vocals there for you to listen to. Do you remember what those 2 songs were?
I actually don't. I've done so many. I say this with humility, but I've done so many shares that I don't remember which ones we shared, but they're there somewhere.
They're there in that broadcast, but also going to your website and looking, I think, is probably the best. The beekindness.com.
Yeah, and at the top of my website, just to help anybody that needs a little bit of a tech, just right at the top, there's actually clicks to go to Spotify. There's clicks to go to YouTube. The YouTube channel actually that I have is helpful because all of my music is there. But you can also just go to YouTube and just put my name, Paul Luftenegger, in there. There's only one of me as far as I know, but just click on that. And then my albums are all there too. So thank you so much, Dani. I love you with all my heart. Thank you.
I love you too, Paul. I love you too. I really do. I really do. Beautiful. And to you, thank you, darling. And to you guys out there, thank you so much for watching. Really hope that you take something on this 2nd of February, 2022. Remember how beautiful and magnificent and beloved you are too. And I will see you soon. And I send you my love.